Thank you for joining us for this week's Redline Report, powered by HireMaster. I'm Shasta Jones. On today's episode, we are discussing the latest DOT's fiscal budget request, volume returning to the trucking market, and more. The White House's fiscal 2024 budget request for the U.S. Department of Transportation recently prioritized safety and freight connectivity programs. The $6.9 trillion budget was delivered to a split Congress on March 9th with focused efforts towards safety, boosting supply chain connectivity, climate change, environmental justice, and the adoption of emerging technologies. The budget would dedicate more than $1.3 billion for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which is a definite need. The budget also proposed $14 billion in grants for transit operations, $1.5 billion for rail safety programs, and $1.2 billion in grants for big-ticket infrastructure projects. Overall, the White House would increase funding for transportation programs by requesting over $27 billion in discretionary authority and over $80 billion in the contract authority and obligation limitations. The GOP leaders made it a point to bring up the country's debt obligations. They were all in agreement with needing to cut wasteful spending and to remind everyone that America's debt is one of the greatest threats to our country. Check out the full article in Transport Topics online. Are you noticing your hiring needs are going outside the realm of drivers lately? If you answered yes to that question, let HireMaster's strategic team help you fill your non-driver positions as well. HireMaster's capabilities range from drivers to mechanics and everything in between. Talk to your HireMaster account rep today to expand your hiring needs. The trucking industry endured severe job losses in February. The Bureau of Labor Statistics data reported the transportation section saw a decline of 8,500 jobs in February. In the data provided by BLS, a review of every month going back to January 2013 turns up no other month in that period except for the purge in April 2020. The only one-month decline that surpassed this recent data was 9,000 jobs in March 2013. David Spencer, the Vice President of Market Intelligence at Arrive Logistics, said in an email to FreightWaves, quote, "With shippers lowering volume expectations, carriers will be providing smaller commitments, which means the same way that spot rates are starting to bottom out, we're going to see jobs continue to decrease over the next few months. While many carriers were holding out hoping for a recovery, I believe now we are seeing carriers adjusting to the new conditions with more confidence," end quote. There are positive findings coming from FreightWaves Sonar and their recent truckload volume data. Its Outboard Tender Volume Index, or OTVI, measures the volume of truckload tender requests in the North American freight market. The data involves actual load requests from shippers to carriers, and since OTVI tracks the contract market, it provides advanced signals of market direction. While volumes are up, capacity is still greater than demand. If OTVI continues to show progress over the next few weeks, it will demonstrate that the worst is over for the U.S. goods economy, at least as far as volumes are concerned. Unfortunately, motor carriers may not see any signs of improvement just yet. One factor that is not currently showing any level of tightening is in the capacity side of the market. More reports show the lowest point in the history of the index, with the exception of the extreme lockdowns during the earliest days of the pandemic. The good news for truckers is if they can hold on for a few more weeks, stronger volumes from produce and the typical spring shipping season are coming and excess capacity should tighten. This week, we are encouraging you to consider what makes a company gratifying for women to work for. The 2023 nominations are coming up for the top companies for women to work for in transportation. This program is going on its 6th year, with the Women in Trucking Association, and their goal is to highlight companies in the industry that are friendly for women in both professional driver and corporate capacities. The deadline for nominations is May 12, 2023. Check out womenintrucking.org for more details. Thank you for joining us for this week's Redline Report. I'm Shasta Jones. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch each episode of the Redline Report, powered by HireMaster. See you next week.